Hello and welcome everyone to the session. My name is Raja Venkataraman, the co-founder of NeoTrader and also your trading influencer. Been in the market for more than 15 years, happily married with a loving wife and an energetic son who keeps me on the run just like the markets. Welcome everyone to Saturday Spotlight, and it's always an exciting time to connect with all of you. I hope all of you are doing good and all of you are having a really good time understanding and reading the markets and also making some money. So I have with me all my lovely audience from our NeoTrader family. So what's keeping you busy and what's keeping you active, right? What's happening on the ground level? I would like to know, what are you guys doing? How are you guys facing the market? How are you guys actually evaluating the various market conditions? Because it's all about how you evaluate the market conditions, and that's why we keep meeting from time to time to understand how to go about the process. Yes, good morning, Mamya. Good morning, Deepak. Good morning, Om Prakash. Good morning to all of you. So we are seeing that the markets are having a very strong rebound, right? We spoke about the rebound in the last edition when we met. Now we are looking at the market scenario. Okay, we are looking at the market scenario where it has reached a critical point, right? It has reached a critical point, and at this critical point, how is the market set up? What are we supposed to do? And how are we supposed to action them? That's what is the agenda on the cards today. And we are also going to see some interesting space from the IPOs. What are my takes and how am I viewing certain set of IPOs that are positioned well? I'm going to be discussing about them. Then we are going to go into the stock selection, right? A process for stock selection and how we can do it better, and what are the various takes on certain set of stocks. There will be a Q&A section. So a whole lot of thing has been designed for this edition. So I would like you to hang on. I would like you to take notes and I would like you to share. So are you guys ready to get rolling? So let's get started. Let's start with some bit of analysis part and then get on with NeoTrader and see how we can combine both and enhance our market perspectives and also our market knowledge, right? So let me just share my screen right now. Hold on a moment. So what you're seeing on the screen right now, okay, markets were on a continuous decline, correct, making a lower low, lower high, and finally from here it rebounded. So I have used a tool called as Pitchfork. Okay, so Pitchfork gives you a very good idea about how exactly you can get a support resistance. So it's based on the concept of mean reversion as well as finding out fine. It's a fine way of drawing a trend line. So if you would like to know more, there are details available. You can contact our team. But then trying to understand Pitchfork, what is this situation trying to tell us? Okay, what is this situation trying to tell us? It is trying to tell that the prices have risen now and they are at an important juncture. So what is that important juncture right now? The upper end of the channel. So there are two channels here. This is the upper channel, this is the lower channel, and right now you can see here that the prices have risen and they are testing the upper end of the channel. So now, yes, if you ask me, is there room? The answer is yes, there is room. Till where? It will be till the upper end of the channel, right? It will be till the upper end of the channel. So what is out here is the situation where there is some room at the upper end of the channel. So now, how did I draw this pitchfork? I used a low, high, and a low. So I get this pitchfork here, and now with this pitchfork, I can decide as to what are the probable support resistance level, and this support resistance level helps me get a good clarity on where exactly the prices are going. I hope I'm audible. I hope my audio video is okay. Can you give me an AV check, guys? I forgot to ask my AV check. So I believe audio video is okay because you guys are responding. So now this is the overall situation. So yes, market is at a interesting stage. Now on Friday's candle, Okay, on Friday's candle, what do you see? What kind of pattern do you see? Right? What kind of pattern do you see? You see a pattern called as doji. Okay, so what is this doji pattern? This doji pattern says that yes, I am interested to go up, but then I have a slight hesitation. So there is some slight hesitation out here, and this is maybe people are still debating as to what needs to be done, etc., etc. We will see about those elements in few moments from now. So this is the chart setup of Nifty. Now what I did is I did something more interesting. I decided to use more set of tools to give more color to my understanding. I used a concept called as Fibonacci. Those of you who are regular, those of you who are regular to my sessions will know how wonderfully Fibonacci resistance and supports work. So you can see here what has happened is I've taken it from the October high, right? Around 18,600 was the high. From there, if I draw a downward Fibonacci retracement, Fibonacci is a very, very powerful concept. Once you start using Fibonacci concepts in your understanding, it will make your job easier. We have used this very, very well into NeoTrader. We have devised the concept of Fibonacci pivots, which is a very, very powerful way. I don't know how many of you have used it, but then Fibonacci pivot is a very, very fantastic way. It summarizes the entire essence of Fibonacci and it takes the best out of the pivot. So it's a combination of a very, very powerful way to look at the markets. So coming back to the Nifty charts, you can see here that the Nifty did travel above the golden ratio of 61.8. It dipped back, and then once again Friday we managed to settle above it. So now looking at the future, which is the coming week, we can definitely see that there is more room. And what is the room? The room to go towards the next set of resistance, which is around 18,130. And if you see here, the room here also is somewhere around 18,050 to 18,100. So roughly around 18,050 to 18,100 could be your expected target in the coming week on the Nifty. Okay. So when you take a look at that scenario, you know that yes, there is some room. But then we also got to see how can we be helped with some assistance from the other sectors. So what I did was I used the same concept of Fibonacci levels on the Bank Nifty. You can see here, this is the chart of Bank Nifty. And when you take a look at Bank Nifty, you find that Bank Nifty has come at a very important zone. Okay, Bank Nifty has come at a very important zone. So going into the next week, okay, going into the next week, we all know how important banks are. We all know how much of impact the bank has on the whole setup, right? So when you take a look at the whole scenario, you find that the bank is at a critical juncture. Why? Because the banks are testing the 50% level, which is around 38,000. And also at 38,000, you have a value area here. So you can see here, in and around this area, there are some bit of resistances. And now going into the next week, this level assumes a lot of importance, right? When you take a look at the option data also, there has been some call writing at 38,000. So now the band of 38,000 to 37,000 will assume a lot of importance going into the next week. If banks were able to hold on to those levels, then we will definitely see some more upside because banks will start finding banks started a little late, but then banks are getting into action and right now they are at an important juncture. So now when you take a look at the Nifty as well as Bank Nifty, well, banks are looking at a resistance while Nifty has held itself above support. So a toss between Nifty and Bank Nifty, I would wager a pullback approach in Bank Nifty, while I would look at Nifty either on a pullback or on a breakout. So both the rooms are available. in Nifty. So that's how I'm looking at the next week. And when you take a look at the overall chart setup, you get very, very good clarity that the markets are at an important stage. And similar to Nifty, Bank Nifty has also formed a doji pattern. So we have ended the week on a positive note, but with some caution, right? So I hope all of you got some idea based on the chart setup, and all of you got good clarity on what exactly is happening, because this kind of clarity is required when you are going into the markets, when you're trying to understand what kind of setups you need to see, what kind of activity you need to follow. Because every time you take a look at this scenario, you will always have some challenges. Now what I'll do is I will add a dash of momentum. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, let's go here and let's check out the commonly used ones. Okay, so you got relative strength index here, correct? When you take a look at the relative strength index, you can see here that there was a clear divergence being formed towards the end of December, right? There was a clear divergence being formed towards the end of December, and from there on, the Nifty has managed to move well. Now let's switch and put the same indicator on Bank Nifty. So again, we go here and we put on the RSI. Again, you can see here that a similar divergence was formed again in Nifty and Bank Nifty. So both the scenarios, there were divergences towards the end of December, right? Towards the mid or the third week of December. And from there on, there has been a steady upward rebound. Now, if you shift to the higher time frame, let's shift to the higher time frame. When you check out on the weekly, okay, when you check out on the weekly, what has happened is it's just a correction. Okay, it's a correction, and then this is something called as a neutral zone. So neutral zone is a very powerful concept. RSI has got many nuances, and these nuances are very well illustrated in our webinar done by Dr. Narayan. It's a recorded course. If you are interested, you can get in touch with our team. It's called Power Trading with RSI, where he has explained not only the normal divergences as well as the reverse divergences, how to use the neutral zone. There is something called as range shift. So all these things are benefits of RSI. RSI is not just above 70, below 30, or above 60, below 40. These are, yes, these are concepts, but along with that, these are nuances which you need to know so that you can interpret RSI much better. So you can see here that RSI came here, came to the neutral zone. Yes, correction was sharp, but the overall picture of Nifty was still in a pullback mode. Okay, this is the scenario on Nifty. Now let's go to Bank Nifty on a higher time frame. You can see here, compared to Nifty, Bank Nifty was much weaker. You can see here the correction went below the neutral zone. That's why the banks are taking much more time. You may wonder why the banks are taking time to revive. It's because of this, that they could not move up enough above 70 and they dipped much below the neutral zone. So this is the overall situation of Nifty and Bank Nifty. And when you take a look at the situation for the coming week, yes, the markets are looking positive, but then it will require some bit of help from some positive triggers. And when you're looking at the current scenario, we are looking at the news flows to emerge from the result season, the Q3 result season जो है, उस result season से जो भी news आएंगे, उस news के basis पे जो भी stock specific action होंगे, that will trigger, and all those will keep us active, keep us engaged. Because even on Friday, if you saw, markets did witness a correction just after appearing to cross 18,000. But then what really happened was the stocks were in action. Many stocks, even moved beyond 10%. So the thing is that people are still active on the stocks front, and that's what is keeping everyone busy. All right. So this was my take on the Nifty and Bank Nifty, and I hope all of you got some key understanding. right? So now what I want you to do is I want you to go right now on the chat on our group, and I want you to take 2 minutes and post what was your key takeaway from the market outlook section before we move on to the next section. Every section I want to do that because I want you to engage with me, I want you to participate with me, and I want you to share what was your key takeaway from this particular section of the market outlook. I'm going to give you a minute. Go out there, post on the group. What did you know or what did you learn from this? I'm sure you would have learned something. What did you learn and what did you know? Because and then we'll also have a Q&A, don't worry. But at this moment, what was your key takeaway? Go and post it on the group because you guys have taken your time. Thank you so much for joining me. आप लोग मेरे साथ हैं क्योंकि आपने आपका समय दिया है, which is the most valuable thing. So I want you to just take a minute, post what you was your takeaway from this section on the group before we move on to the next section where we are going to discuss some interesting IPO setups which I have discovered and what is my basis for the same.